Today we're going to talk about respect in male-female relationship dynamic. This topic has been talked about a lot. You can see many content has been created around this, addressing the female disrespect and how to deal with it. But unfortunately, not always is it addressed from the healthy place. Now, how I see respect is there are two tiers or two broad levels of respect. The first tier or the first level of respect is it's the human being level respect. Each of us, human beings, souls, we deserve respect. We deserve to be respected as a human being, as a living being. Yeah. No matter where you were born, what is your racial, cultural, religious background, you deserve respect. And then there is another tier or another level, which is more closely tied to gender roles and its functionality. And in this video, I would like to address more the second tier respect. As a man, you earn respect by being in a certain way or not being in a certain way, doing certain things or not doing certain things, embodying and following certain values, principles, attitudes, behaviors. So in this sense, respect is like a social currency. When you look at successful men or great community leaders or historical knights or world famous athletes or high performers who excelled in their own craft or industry, they were respected by their peers and admired. Why? They were respected because of their deeds, their embodied values, character traits, principles, their integrity, their social impact, not just around their immediate small circle of people, but even the bigger social structure. This is how they earn their respect. I'm not talking about respect gained by fear or control, coercion, that can be seen in the case of mafia. That to me is not respect. That is something else. The respect that I'm talking about is not just given to any man, just like that, just because he's a man and he has penis and a sack close to his pelvis. No, that's not enough. When men enter adult life, they're not granted the same type of respect like in childhood, where sometimes a parent would reward child just by being himself and without having any specific expectations or performance goals. Or child would be rewarded, for example, just by participating in the competition and not winning. You could call this unconditional love. In this case, results doesn't matter. And a lot of men crave this type of treatment, especially from their women. because this is tied to their childhood when they didn't receive unconditional love from their parents, and especially from their mothers. This stems from deep childhood trauma, when boys did not receive the feminine love in the way that they wanted. You could call this a mother wound. When a mother is not present with her child, in this case boy internalizes this as message, I don't matter. And obviously this impacts his self-esteem. Now, typically a man with a mother wound won't be able to provide emotionally for his woman because he is expecting his woman to mother him, and he gets very defensive whenever she is bringing up her needs or expressing her emotions. A man perceives it as criticism towards himself. And when a woman often expresses her dissatisfaction with relationship, which is essential feedback how to improve relationship, that is often perceived as an attack. Like she's not grateful for what the man has provided her in the past. She's unselfish. And man with a mother wound is projecting this outwards in the relationship as nasty comments, emotional disconnection, silent treatment, withdrawal of attention, and so on. When a man acts like this, he is not trying to earn her respect by developing emotional connection, closeness, understanding, and demonstrating that her needs are his concern. Instead, how he tries to acquire respect from her is through punitive measures. Like if a woman doesn't behave in a certain way a man wants her to behave, then she will receive punishment in one way or another. It's forceful, it's coercion. Of course, boundaries are important in relationships, but only if they're coming from love, from calmness, from fairness, and not from resentment, bitterness, emotional reactivity, as being defensive, or as a response to triggered insecurities to avoid, cover up emotional pain. When a man can handle his own and his woman's emotions, only then he's ready to set a healthy boundaries coming from a healthy place. Otherwise, boundaries are used as punishment, excessive, extreme. In a scenario where a woman is in a relationship with a man who has not healed, resolved his mother wound, a woman won't be able to have a mature, constructive conversation with her man about whose needs are being or not being met, and how can they be met, how to resolve this. When a woman typically tries to speak with a man about meeting her needs or not meeting her needs, typically man will try to bring up past, what he has already done for her, falling into the victim consciousness. And in this state of being, a man is not able to hear what a woman is saying. He cannot sense what she's feeling, incapable of tuning in to his woman. What are her needs? What she needs at the moment? Where is she emotionally at right now? he cannot do that without already, while she is speaking, formulating his own mental response as defense mechanism to deflect his blame or avoid his own emotional pain, and to basically avoid her and avoid responsibility and accountability in this case. When a woman or someone else is criticizing a man with a mother wound, that is signal to him that, I'm not being accepted for who I am. And that triggers the already many times mentioned childhood wounding, the mother wound. Now, when men reach their adult life and they enter in relationship with women, women test them if they can respect them, if they can trust them, and if they are safe to be with. Can men deliver their promises? Do they live by their boundaries? Do they follow their integrity? And so on. And this triggers a lot of men feeling used and valued for only what they do. And there is a strong pushback from a lot of men to this, because unfortunately a lot of them have been used just for their resources by women, manipulated, and not getting anything that they needed in return. And to protect themselves, a lot of men have so-called learned from their past, and they have chosen the path of coercion or compliance by force to protect themselves in the future. So with these men, typically what you see is an entitlement or expectation that women need to respect them first, respect their authority first, no matter what, even if they haven't demonstrated yet fully that they can be trusted, that they regard their women's best interests. No. In this case, women need to respect them first before this comes. So this is a polarity flip again, when instead of man being the initiatory, proactive, leading force, he responds to how women show up. But women are the responsive beings, more responsive than men. They respond how men show up. So you see, it's vice versa. It's inverted. So in this case, for men to show support to their women, what they first do is they wait and see if a woman shows up to them, like she has to be super invested, interested, super loving from the beginning. For them, that's a confirmation then, okay, she is the one. And this is often mistaken for the fact that these women also, they're so dry of male support, and they're desperate to find someone who will meet their needs. So they will double down in the beginning, and they will present themselves as these super loving women because they desperately need support from men. So this is vice versa. Women come as proactive, and then men decide and choose. And this polarity flip scenario happens because men use this as power over or domination over the other. This is not a healthy and natural and organic submission coming from a woman, but this is rather a tyrannical shadow king in its display. Now let's talk a little bit more about the boundaries. Many men think that if they set from the start strong boundaries, and if women respect them, they will comply to these boundaries no matter what. Wrong. Woman first wants to test the boundary. How stable is it? How stable is the man? When the boundary gets challenged, how will man respond, react? Will he stay calm? Will he get triggered, reacted, insecure? This often gets misinterpreted as disrespect. She didn't respect my boundaries. A woman needs to feel safe for her to adopt this boundary for herself. So for her, the boundary gets emotionally tested, not verbally imposed by a man. In the end, I want to share a general rule of thumb. Women are responsive beings, and they respond to the ever-changing environment around them, conditions, and women feel more vulnerable and more afraid, and they perceive, in their perception, more risks than men do. So they need to be assured more, and they need to feel more safe than men do. When a woman feels safe physically and emotionally, mentally, in the presence of a man, then she starts to trust the man. And then man earns her trust, and man demonstrates that he understands his woman emotionally. He is tuned to her needs, her worries, her desires. All of this earns a man trust. And after trust comes boundaries. In today's emotionally wounded world, we see a lot of men try to force their boundaries first over the women before there has been earned or developed any trust, any feeling of safety, just bulldozing over. Why? Because men are not in tune with emotions, and they avoid them. Thank you for your time and intention. This was a long video, and if you listened and watched it, it shows to me that you are interested in navigating through the healthy dynamics between men and women. If you found this valuable, I would appreciate your support in the form of likes, shares, subscription if you haven't already. And I would also really like to read your comments. Please feel free to share your mind, and I will see you in the next video.